Okay, guys, let me cue this up. There is a company by the name of iPro Realty, a real estate brokerage, 17 branches, 2,400 employees that are wrapped in a multi-million dollar, basically fraud. They're missing money. And I'll read this for you a second, but neither one of them will be charged by the regulator in the wake of what was initially a $10.5 million shortfall in the company's trust account. That's what we're going to discuss right now. Okay, guys, there's so many different directions that we could look at this. All right, I'm going to try to do the nice calm piece first. First of all, we know that there was some money missing. We got the co-founders, and neither one of them is being found is being charged at the moment. But we got money missing, and we've got the oversight commission. They're saying, yeah, these guys, we're not going to charge them at this time, and police may get called later on. So, how do we react to something like that? What are all those details in between? There's a whole bunch of maybes on why these two aren't facing charges themselves, considering they're the founders. They're supposed to be overseeing the whole thing. Now, I get it. It's a massive, massive company. And how do you release a story like this half-cocked? How do you just one moment you're saying that these guys have stolen $10.5 million, and now you're coming back and saying we're not going to charge these guys, and we're not going to say anything else about it. Oh, by the way, we may get the cops involved. We may get the cops involved. What is happening here? Who is running this show? I mean, I'm sure you'll find other people on here that have probably talked about this. There is a huge question of, is there some involvement by the Real Estate Commission of Ontario, by RECO? Is there some involvement? Yeah, absolutely. There is a question about that. And when you don't give any further insight into why you've now made this decision, I mean, after all, you're the one that shut them down in the first place. And so there is something to realize about when some type of oversight body makes an announcement. They have to be responsible for what they communicate. With RECO right now, initially saying, hey, these guys stole this money and calling it fraud. They didn't come out and say, we are investigating, some concerns. We are going to temporarily shut them down while we do a financial audit. No, the story came out right away that this money had been stolen, that this money was missing, that there was fraud. As such, we need to really look at this and go, guys, give us some more information. Now, what about the two individuals that are involved that aren't facing charges? Would they not want to be coming out and saying, we had nothing to do with this. This is not us. But they have not made that statement, which is kind of telling. Now let's talk about the people actually affected. There's a whole lot of people that have got their commissions. They're waiting for their money, employees that are waiting for their money. And then there's homeowners that have deals that probably are due to be closed, have been stalled, have been, held off because funds are missing. Who do you give the funds to? Do you hope that they magically reappear? Is the insurance company going to pay for it? This is nothing short of a bag of cats right now, guys. The Real Estate Council of Ontario is when these commissions like this try to say, okay, we're going to do some oversight and we're going to do some forensic audits, this kind of stuff. And they normally say, it'll take 30 days. And the last company I heard of that got investigated for something like that, it took them 6 months to do their initial investigation. The company went under. Whether they did anything wrong, it took 6 months. They could do no business. That company went under just based on that alone. Okay, so the regulators froze iPro Realty's bank accounts, in the wake of a potential collapse. And we know that they were doing business beyond just the Toronto real estate boards. They were doing it outside of that. And it was already admitted by the executives to RECO that they had moved money out of those accounts to repay investors in the brokerage's holding company and cover operating expenses. So now here's the real question. What happens if there's a shortfall? What happens to the people whose money is gone? Because this is first of all, because this is a large trust account, you're not going to be able to identify specific people's money that's disappeared. So this is where errors and omissions comes in. This is where the insurance for errors and omissions comes in. And they've got to come in and pay this amount. Now, I can tell you this, they're not going to be happy with just letting these guys go. They're going to want to know, and they're going to be intent. Insurance companies, if they're going to have to pay money, they want somebody to hang. So there's still more to come in that regarding that. And I can say that there is no way that they're going to put out any individuals and potentially crash the entire real estate market in Ontario as a result. I guarantee you they will figure this out and make sure that everyone is made whole. And even if they have to then go back and make these individuals pay the money out of their own pockets, they will take care of the people that are out the money and make sure that all the transactions are held up and continue to be able to do so. Because quite frankly, the ripple effect is catastrophic. Catastrophic. If you shut this down and you start shutting down every brokerage across the province, that would have a cascading effect across the entire country that would effectively plunge us into not just a recession, but a depression overnight if they allowed this to happen. All right, guys, this is just a quick update to this episode, and that is that the Ontario Provincial Police have officially launched an investigation into iPro Realty. That this whole controversy, it's hit the company, and they're really trying to. We weren't sure initially, but right now, as of right now, we literally just got this update that the Ontario Provincial Police, the OPP, have in fact launched an investigation into the matter, and to protect. Here's their statement: to protect the integrity of the investigation, we're unable to provide further details at this time, but the OPP has been asked to investigate this matter, and so that's what we've got right now, and we're waiting to see what else will be released as they do their investigation. And it could be months, it could be a full trial before we really get to know more. But now at least we know that the OPP are, in fact, going to be doing an investigation. Well, guys, this is another episode. I do want to just say to all the people affected by this, if you're not sure of what's going on with your own deals, your own money, your commissions, your weekly paycheck, I just want to say sincerely, I'm sorry that you're having to go through this. And there's a lot of people that are hurting in this market, and it's unfortunate to see this happening at this point in time. And the reality is that this is what you can face sometimes when you're out there in the real world. And you've got to take every measure you can to make sure you do your due diligence, that you're dealing with a trusted broker, a trusted professional. Make sure that they have integrity. See what people say about them. See what they say about the brokerage. In the wild, not just what the brokerage says about itself, not just what the company says about itself, but what do other people say about them as well. And do as much due diligence as you can just to take care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, we still have to continue on, whether we buy a house, sell a house, get a mortgage. clear out the mortgage. We are still interconnected as a community, as people, as a nation, and we need to figure out how to continue to move forward and somehow trust, even when we see situations like this that force us or make us really want to cringe and pull back. So this is another episode of the Four Horsemen of Real Estate podcast, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.